so much. Joining you now from Perth in Western Australia is Geoffrey Thomas, the editor-in-chief and managing director at Airline Ratings.com. It's been a while. Good to see you, my friend. Let's start with that question. How shocking is it, given what had gone on in the hours prior and the virtual war footing that Iran would have been on, expecting a US response, that these planes were taking off?
Look, indeed, and there were quite a number before the fatal flight. And as your correspondent in Kiev said earlier, this was a standard departure. It's the Paro departure out of Tehran Airport. Follow the runway heading, then make a slight turn to the right. And the previous flights on the previous 4 or 5 days had done exactly the same departure. So to suggest that it had turned towards a military airbase in a threatening manner is nonsense. And in fact, just before coming on air, I had a look at some more departures from Tehran Airport, and those aircraft are following exactly the same flight route as this one did. So that doesn't hold any water at all, Michael.
Yeah, good point. And the wording in the Armed Forces General Staff was that the aircraft was at an altitude and condition of flight that resembled a hostile target. Well, from all indications, as you're saying very clearly there, Jeff, and everything else we've seen, it's hard to see how that is the case if it was on a standard flight path. The other thing that is so important here, a civilian aircraft has, unlike a military aircraft, they would have had no idea this was coming. They're not putting out flares and chaff and have early warning.
No, indeed. They don't have the detection systems that, say, a military aeroplane would have. The only exception to that would be El Al. They've got those systems on board their aircraft. They've got chaff dispensers, or they used to have chaff dispensers and flares and whatnot at one stage. I don't actually know whether they still do or not, but certainly back in the 70s and 80s they did. But yes, back to the point of this particular aircraft, no, they would have had absolutely no idea what hit them, and it essentially rendered the plane unflyable, uncontrollable, and knocked out all the systems straight away. So hopefully the passengers on board would not have known much about it either.
You know, the other thing too is, let's say a theoretical US warplane going into Iranian airspace hasn't got its transponder on, its identifying beep, if you like, but a civilian aircraft does have a transponder on. Should that not be something that a military missile battery is aware of? And we've made this point several times over the last couple of hours. I can look up FlightAware on my phone on an app and see where planes are around the world. How on earth does the military not do that or hear a transponder?
Well, indeed, they should have been given the transponder codes. Whether they were or whether they were given them or not, we don't know. But yes, I mean, the operator could have his iPad or iPhone on with the FlightAware or Flight Radar 24, and he could see every single aeroplane commercial. And you're absolutely right. A military aeroplane launching an attack would be, first of all, below the radar, ground-hugging aircraft, or it would be a stealth aircraft, and you wouldn't pick it up either. So, an aeroplane that's sort of motoring along at 8,000 feet is not a threat, an incoming threat, if you like. So the explanations that we are being offered are simply not acceptable, other than the fact that somebody just made a terrible mistake and hadn't been briefed properly, hadn't been trained properly. Who knows?
Command and control and training certainly absolutely are contenders in this situation. Geoffrey Thomas, good to see you, my friend. Thanks so much. Under poor circumstances. All right, we're going to take a